Honestly, it is. It is dead. My tongue's too big for my mouth, folks. I can't speak this morning. Well, we're down here on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal for our first pike fishing session of the year. And hoping that we're going to catch something, but who knows, Dad?
Yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. I'm trying out my new bait casting setup, heavy duty bait casting setup, which I'll show you more in a minute. And Dad's using a more all-round approach for perch and pike, and he's just using a small shad. What is it, 7 centimetre shad, something like that?
Yeah.
And I don't know, 2-3 gram shad weight. 2 gram then. So that's what he's using, and I'm going big guns today, hoping for a better fish. But we're just going to try it out. We'll see what happens. I'll track my route and I'll mark any catches that we get on today's session so that you can have a look at it later on in the video. I'll put it up at the end. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's see if we manage anything today. So I'm going to have to dial this in because it's a brand new setup. It's a WYCHWOOD Agitator, and obviously a WYCHWOOD Agitator bait caster in the 300 size. And this rod is 100 to 150 gram casting weight, so a really heavy duty pike setup. This lure is nowhere near that grammage. That's probably about, I don't know, 20 gram lure, something like that. Got this loaded with 65-70 pound braid, so I can pull out snags if I need to. That should just about bend these hooks out, but we'll have to see about that. I'm starting off on this lure because I've done really well on these lures on this canal before, but in the trout version, the purple trout version. So I might have to put one of those on in a little while. But like I said, first thing we need to do is get this dialed in so it's able to cast these lures nicely without us getting loads of backlash. And obviously I need to set the drag. Why go for a bait caster setup like this and not a spinning or jigging rod? Well, you can make smaller turns on the reel and it allows you to fish it a lot slower, especially in canal situations like this, than you could with a normal sort of 1000, 2000 size reel. And it's much easier once you've got the hanger casting it and using these reels than it is using a normal reel, a normal fixed spool reel like Pops is using today there. And I think he's had this set up somewhere in the garage for the best part of a year, because that trace looks like it's all mangled up and he could do with putting another one on, I reckon. Pops is going for a bit more of an all-round approach today, like he normally does for pike and perch, but me, I need to dial this in. So to dial it in, we need to adjust the tension on the spool. So let's have a go at it. That's actually not bad straight off the bat. I have done a little bit of an adjustment to it on the side here. When you're casting a bait caster like this, you need to stop it with your thumb just as it hits the water, and that way you don't get any backlash. And the idea is that you need just enough resistance to be able to cast out, but if you don't have enough resistance on there, you're just going to get backlash, which is what you want to try and avoid. Now, after owning 2 WYCHWOOD carp rods, I promised myself I would never get another WYCHWOOD product again because they let me down. But hopefully the bait casting setup here redeems itself. But if you can see this lure in the water now, the canal's got nice and cold. We've had a bit of rain over the last couple of days, which is great, so I might have to put a brighter lure on. But I'm working this lure in a dying fish action, but this is casting perfectly. So I'm twitching the handle, which is actually kicking the lure left and right. I'll try and show you down here in the margin. Let me get it in a little bit. Now you can just use it as a normal retrieve, but if you spin it, if you do this, it really gives the action of a fish that's struggling to swim. So let me just flick it down the side of the canal here. Well, I'm hoping you could see that on the GoPro, but that is what I'm trying to imitate, a dying fish that's struggling to swim in the water, and that should be irresistible to a pike. However, I'm actually going to put a different lure on, I think. I'll try with this one for a while, but like I said, this canal is a little bit more coloured than the other canals I've fished over the last couple of days. So I reckon we'll be better with a little bit more colour on the lure. And obviously I've loaded it up with some matching Manly pink braid that goes with the purple detailing of the rod really well. One of the reasons this particular lure is great on the canal is it's very slow sinking. So you can work shallow canals covering a lot of distance without hooking the bottom, and it kind of nosedives. Really slowly nosedives. I am going to try and cycle through a few different types of lures today. I've got some bigger ones and I've got some different colours and stuff like that, so do our best. You had perch here, didn't you, before, Dad? Next to these boats. Now that the temperature's dropped, the pike will likely be nearer the bottom, so it's important to make sure that you're letting your lure sink and work it as slow as you possibly can for that type of lure. That's what I found anyway. Look, I'm no expert at this by any stretch of the imagination, but these are just things that I've found when I've been practicing. The stopping the lure or letting it sink is just as important as the retrieve, if not more important. I have to kind of remind Pops as well to keep moving, because he will just sit in one place and keep casting. He won't move, and it's important to have a couple of casts and then move on when you're doing this kind of thing. Cover as much ground as possible. If you're going to get a bite, it's usually within a couple of casts, and don't just rip your lure out the water when you're near the side here, because this is often where they'll hit it. So just before you bring it in, just let it sink or give it a few twitches, and that's when they can zoom in and smash it a lot of the time. But I'm happy with how this braid's casting. Setup seems good, well balanced. That is dialed in, and once you have got it dialed, don't mess with it, just leave it. Should work for multiple types of lures. You should really micro adjust it every time you put a new lure on, but usually don't need to. Just vary in between twitching it and a slow retrieve. These lures are expensive, folks, but they're really good. I pretty much all my pike on these. Look at that swimming action. There's so many different ways you can work them. Right, one long cast, let's do it. I'm actually going to change this lure to something that's slightly brighter, because the visibility is reasonably low actually. But I'm going to have to take one of these trebles off this one and put it on my other one, because one of the hooks is blunt on the other lure. So my favourite pike lure of all time is going on, which is the same lure but in the trout colours. And like I said, I've got a few different types of lures with me today. Let me show you. Ow. Got two of these bad boys. These have been really recommended to me. They're a Rapala soft Olo, and they're a UV twin tail, and these obviously create turbulence in the water and really agitate it, and these apparently are absolutely amazing for pike. Obviously you rig these up with stingers, which I will show you. It'll be my first time using stingers, so I need to make sure that I'm setting it up right. And these are actually a 52 gram lure, so pretty heavy, but yeah, apparently these two colours are the best. So that one's a lava roach and this one's Halloween. but we'll try them in a bit, probably on the way back, so that we're giving each lure a fair chance. Just need to figure out which one of these hooks is blunt. That one's fine. I think it's one of those back ones. No, it's that one. It's bent out as well. To change these hooks, you need, well, it makes it easier if you've got one of these tools, so that you can open up the O-rings, start it off, and then obviously work it around. Trying not to stab yourself. We've got treble on that one. Sorted. It's not mega deep in this little section, but loads of silvers. Let's get this in. But the flash of the pink on the tail on this trout is absolutely superb, and I think it just drives pike mad. Definitely the colour I've got most confidence in this lure, and it's always sold out as well. This is a Rapala X-Rap Pito or Peto. Had good success on them. This can be a great little stretch here for jack pike. You get a lot of people fishing this little stretch on the pole, and there's tons of silvers about, and obviously where the silvers are is where the pike are, and I have had fish here before, so I seem to find it best casting along the canal like that, but this little stretch can also be snaggy, so you just got to be careful. I actually think I've hooked something there. I think I'm a bit snaggy, a bit snagged up maybe. Yeah, got a leaf on. I knew it didn't feel right. You can always feel when you've got something stuck on. Leaves are going to be a bit of a problem today, and I did say that I wasn't going to fish the canals again until the leaves had finished falling and had sunk and all the weed had died off the canal, but it's not too bad. There's not much weed in this stretch. And if anybody's wondering, we're on the Leeds Liverpool at Burska, which I believe is on the Southport and Wigan Angling Association. I think it's on both. I mean, I'm on both books anyway, so it's not really a problem, but I know that people struggle to find this kind of information out, so always try and tell you. What an amazing, well-balanced setup. I'm actually really impressed with it so far. I think I got the rod and reel combo for about 110 quid, which for a bait caster is absolutely nothing. Hoping to cover some miles today, folks. Always have my bites when I've cast kind of like diagonal across the canal. Obviously the first thing to do is target structure like bridges and other things, but on an overcast day like this, they can be in the middle of the canal, so there's nothing wrong with stopping every now and again and casting a cross section, especially if you know there's silvers in that spot. I'm surprised I've not caught more leaves, but like I said, I'm trying to cast the lure between them and then let it sink, and because I'm fishing mid canal, I'm not going to pick any up off the bottom, so it's a good little setup for that. Dad's bragging that he could cast this bait caster without absolutely bird's nesting it up. Come on, Dad, have a go at it. Come on, have a go. Come on, I want to see you cast it. Come on. Here we go. This is the end of the WYCHWOOD Agitator in my beautifully spooled reel. Right, so
I don't even know how to use it.
right, watch it. Watch me do it. So you want your thumb on it all the time. Click it down. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, click that down, and then as you cast it, just keep your thumb gently on it. Yeah, so cast and just gently on it, and then stop it when it comes near the water. Are you ready for a laugh here, folks? Hey, it'd be funny if a £20 pike come and absolutely nailed it now. You know what, if you get a fish on this before I do, I'm going to be fuming. There you go. Here we are, folks. If we don't catch any fish, at least you can have a laugh. No, not one-handed. You need to actually take it off, Pops. There you go. I'm scared to death of him getting something here. Because you know the rules, folks. If somebody catches a fish on a rod before you, it's their rod. They've claimed it. Don't even joke about it. Wait, watch. Both hands, finger around that trigger. Sorry, Pops. Cast miles with it. But I hope that's given you some insight on how to set up and use the baitcaster setup. Come on, Pops, spending too long in one place. I've got to drag him by his ear, literally, otherwise he'd just stand in one space all day and cast. I reckon down to the bridge, well, a few casts around these boats, down to the bridge, and then we'll do that first little stretch of the Rufford. We've had pike there before. We've had pike here as well, up towards the bridge, but I've not got much confidence about today already. Good little stretch of canal here at Bursker. It's a lot more productive than a lot of the other sections of the Leeds Liverpool around us. A little bit further to drive, but I think it's worth it. Obviously it's a lot further to drive from me from Manchester, but Manchester canals are tough. Well, while we're waiting for Papa West to hook into a 20-pound pike on his perch gear, I just want to take a minute away from the video to say, if it has been helpful for you so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me, and if you're enjoying it, drop a like on it as well. Really helps the channel, helps me grow, and I really do appreciate every single person that likes, and I appreciate every single person that's subscribed to the channel. Not looking good, is it, Pops? But we've had this before, then on the way back we've had a few, so can't predict it, can you? But usually just gets your confidence up if you have a fish pretty early on. Yeah, even if you get a chase or a pull, you know that conditions are looking good. Have a hungry pike, just want anything just to make the video worth posting, that's all. You know me, folks, I'll still post blanks because, well, that's fishing at the end of the day. I always try and include as many tips as I can in the video so that they're still worth watching. But this is the reality of lure fishing. But I do enjoy it more than I would enjoy dead baiting because it's more active as well, folks. You're getting out, you're having a walk. I think there's a little bit more skill involved as well. Again, I'd fish in this stretch. Well, folks, we are shaping wooden. Not even had a chase or anything. Strange one. Conditions did look okay, but it did put a lot of rain down last night, so maybe that has killed them off. Don't know. But we're going to carry on. Been fishing for about an hour and a half and we've covered about 2.5 kilometers. We're going to go back down to where we parked the car and then we're going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to try and get you a fish on the bank today. But after an hour and a half, I am already absolutely demoralised. And that's not a lot of time to be out lure fishing really, but I'll have a coffee and regroup myself and crack on. So once I'm a bit further down the other side of this stretch, I'm going to put one of the bigger lures that I brought on and put the stingers on it as well, and they create a lot of vibration in the water. Those spinning tails really get the pike fired up apparently, so we'll see, won't we? Nearly 5 kilometers walked and no kind of luck, so let's put one of these other lures on. Let's put something bigger on. Let's go big or go home, literally. I'm not giving up on you. You're definitely still my favourite lure, but we need to try other things, folks. Perhaps I said he's just in a decent fish jump. I don't know what weight to put on. Let's go with 5 gram. I don't actually need any weight for these. I think lighter the better on the Canal. Let's put a 5 gram on. Obviously the weight's just to help it sink, and we want a nice slow sink. Right, what should we go for? Should we go for Halloween or one of these brighter ones? Lava roach. I think we know the answer to that one. We're going to go with a lava roach, aren't we? Nice bright lure. And the orange matches the trebles. Not that it matters. There we go. Let's go in through there first. And then obviously they come with these spikes which pierce into the bait, just helps it hold together. Let's give that a go. I'll probably put both in like that. Stop them catching on the tails, hopefully. It feels so heavy, this lure, already. There we go. Let's do it. Lava roach. That is crazy. Almost mesmerizing. That's nuts. Love it. Let's have one more cast with the 5 gram, and then I might see what it's like with that anyway. So it's probably sitting at about 3 foot deep with that 5 gram on, but got to be straight on it, otherwise it'll be catching on the bottom. Reasonably fast retrieve. Nice and easy to take those additional weights off. Yeah, they're fine. It's fine without the 5 gram, you don't even need it. Just gives it a slowest sink, gives me more reaction time on the Canal. The action as it's sinking is absolutely perfect. Those tails still go on the way down, which is what you want. You want to be able to drop it in the water as well. Loads of small fish topping at the back down there. And with this, I'm just doing a straight retrieve. I think those twin tails will do most of the work in attracting the fish. There's fish topping down here. Yeah, really impressed with that. This stretch of canal that we're entering now is meant to be really productive, but never done very well. I've had a small jack pike. The jack pike that I caught when I was doing the Northwest rod race, that was a little bit further down here where the canal narrows up after a sort of wide section. But I have seen silvers moving about here, so don't be silly, Dad. Right, you'd expect us to catch a fish. What do you think this is, a fishing YouTube channel? Oh, dear me. If you don't laugh, you'd cry. All this time, all the fuel, what a waste. Can we have some sympathy likes, please, folks? Come on, this is, the action on this is perfect. Let's go a bit quicker. Let's get a quicker retrieve on it. Maybe I should be doing a quicker retrieve rather than a slow one. It's the only thing I've not tried. Let's do a nice, speedy. Still mild, so you'd have thought they'd chase. If we're doing a quick retrieve though, I reckon we need to put the 5 gram back on. You might want to chase it. Oh, that was a cast, folks. Oh, and it's not tangled. Nice and slow here, come on. I don't know, Dad.
Have you gone far enough or you are?
Go a touch further and then we'll head back. Well, folks, I think that is just about as much as we can take for today, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah.
we've been beaten. So we've been going for about 3.5 hours. By the time we get back to the car, it's probably going to be about 4. And we've covered about 6 kilometers. So we've put a graft in for you today to try and get something. It's just not the way that it's gone. But folks, you know how it is. We'll have a few casts on the way back down to the car, and if we do manage anything, I'll put that clip in after this. But don't get your hopes up, not with how today's gone anyway. It's been a tough old session, but I just want to say, yeah, it's been a right old slog. But I just want to say thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. I'm sorry that we haven't managed anything today, but I'll keep at the lure fishing. I'll mix it up, I'll put other things in between those sessions, but it is my goal this year to get a PB perch and a PB pike, and I'll be using all different types of methods to try and achieve that, from lure fishing to dead baiting. I'm not a fan of live baiting. I don't think I would ever do live baiting. I think it's a little bit cruel, and each to their own. If that's your thing, then you do that. But my philosophy on live baiting is that fish that you're using as bait doesn't really have a chance. I don't think that's ethical. I think every creature should get a chance to carve its own path. And I know it's only a fish. I know it's probably only a little roach or a little dace or a little, I don't know, minnow, whatever you're using. That fish doesn't have a chance. You've stuck it on a hook and it can't get anywhere, and I just think that's a little bit cruel. So it's better to kill the fish ethically and use dead baits, in my opinion. But like I said, each to their own. But we'll be using dead baits. I'll probably be using circle hooks on the dead baits as well. So we'll get out over the next few weeks and give that a go, and carry on with the lures as well. In terms of the perch, well, I'm going to carry on trying commercials on the float. So using maggots and worms on commercials, because there's some stonking perch in commercial fisheries, and they're not really targeted either. They get really big, they get really fat on the roach and stuff like that, but you really do need that temperature to drop off before you try for them on commercials, because the bigger perch will definitely only take worms and maggots and stuff like that once that temperature drops off, because otherwise they'll still be after the live bait. So you need the silvers to slow down, and then we'll try on the float or on a small cage feeder for the perch on commercials. So there we go, that's my plan. That's my plan of attack for beating the PBs this year. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Also folks, I'll put the GPS location and the stats for today's session in the top corner now for you, so you can have a look at the route and where we've been and what we've been doing. Dad's just come out with one of his wisecracks. He says the only thing this WYCHWOOD agitator's agitated today is me. And he's not wrong.